A quick disclaimer before you start watching this video or you decide to start watching this video, that this book that I'm reacting to in this video has a lot of graphic descriptions of blood and complete lack of hygiene, and the author has written a character who is so disgusting. There's no other word for it. There is also racism in here, and she talks about things in ways that literally should not be talked about. So if you're grossed out easily, then please do not watch this video. Also, if you are family, please do not watch this video as well. So today is the 21st of December and I have decided that I will finish reading this book no matter what today, because I've had enough. So let's just dive right in. She says, one of the first dirty sayings I ever heard when I was very young was at a party my parents threw, and I had to ask around a lot before I understood it. It's okay to swim in the Red River as long as you don't drink the water. I don't want to explain it. So basically when they do it when she's on her period, she says, we leave behind a huge blood-spattered mess in the bed. She moves around so that there's blood all over the place. One more reason why I hate this woman is because she thinks putting her mark on everything is a sign of total feminine independence. Dude, you're just being unhygienic. Not just, it's a huge deal that you're being unhygienic and it's horrible. But you really think that what you are doing is a sign of your freedom, of your level of I don't give a shit kind of independence? She's the worst. As if I haven't given enough explanations about her being the worst, but she is the absolute worst, because she went to her aunt's house and she went to bed because she didn't feel well. She has this thing where just right before her period starts, she gets into a really bad mood. She's PMS has taken hold of her, but she didn't feel well and she went to bed, which is fine. The next morning I got up and saw that I'd covered the bed with blood, a huge puddle. I was too self-conscious to go to my aunt and say that I'd had a bit of an accident. There was just nothing I could do. Till here you can understand that she's a little scared about approaching an adult, because this was back when she was just getting started. Like, she had just gotten a period and it was all very new to her. So we could understand that she's just being a little... She didn't know how to talk to an adult about her experiences and about how she was experiencing periods. But look at what she says. I had slept and hadn't noticed anything. I didn't know how to describe what had happened to me either. I decided just not to say anything. I left the next morning like nothing had happened, leaving the mess behind without comment. I mean, imagine the amount of arrogance you have to leave someone's house in a total mess. Like, I'm not just talking about periods. I understand about periods and all that, but even if you leave a litter also in someone's house, you're supposed to do the polite thing, pick it up, clear it out before you leave. It's basic courtesy. And this woman, she left it all to her aunt. I mean, I understand why at that point in time, but just up and leaving, and now she's talking about it in such a proud manner. She says, my aunt must have gone into the room to tidy up and noticed it right away. I hadn't even covered it with the blanket. All those liters of red were right out in the open for my aunt to see. Ever since then, I've been uptight around my aunt, though she's never said anything about it. Typical of family. When it comes to my period, I don't care about hygiene either. It's blown out of proportion, it seems. Dude, people die because of lack of hygiene during their menstrual periods. What is... Do you want to die? She's so sick! Oh my god, yuck! Ew! I can't even remember the number of times I've said you in this video. because I'm reading such an ew book. She's used her dad's barbecue tongs to find a tampon within her, and she used it without cleaning it, and after she's done looking, she just put it back where she found it without cleaning it. I always have a broad grin on my face during barbecues with family, friends or the family. What? How? Gee. Oh. I ask everyone, doesn't it taste great? And wave to my father, who waves back with the tongs, smiling. My third hobby, spreading bacteria. Oh, now she's worried. If I'm unsuccessful in my search with the barbecue tongs and start to worry that the bloody toilet paper will rot inside me and I'll die a horrible death from infection, I go to the gynecologist. No, you're worried that it will rot inside you? Really? So careful about hygiene you've suddenly become. I like the smell of old blood. She removes tampons, puts it on the floor when she's gone into the bathroom to pee or something. And she says, the dirtier the floor, the better. And if you dare talk one more time about saying, I'm scared I'll rot to death, then I will slap you. I swear. She's also heard horror stories about what happens if you don't always replace your tampon regularly. But then I have gotten my periods. I've been getting my periods for 6 years now, and I've had no problems. Like, you think that that's going to stop a problem when it's about to happen? Like, oh, she's just such a period veteran, let's not attack her. Do you think that's what's going to happen? She used to share tampons with someone else. And I'm not even talking about clean ones. I'm talking about used ones. And they used to exchange it in public toilet stalls from under the door. And they used to use each other's... I'm not even... No. Okay, who even wants to know? Besides me, I know. If you have that question, then why did you write this book? She looked like a black version of me. By that I mean she was built like me. See, don't make any woman a black version of anyone. A woman is a woman. I didn't think this book could get worse, but with every page turned, oh my god, it's getting worse than the worst. Huh? Do not do that about men. I feel very awkward in this brothel setting. No wonder men always have to get hopelessly drunk before they get up the nerve to go. You think that's why they get drunk before they go to a brothel? Really? My god, your mind works in weird ways, but I don't even know what it is. Your privilege or your ignorance is showing. No, but one thing she's saying is like so true. She says, by the way, another thing that really needs to stop is the way my period always sneaks up on me by surprise. So true. Oh, gee! I can't even tell you why I have that expression, because it's that I've been saying throughout this video that imagine gross and then multiply it by 1,000, by 1,000,000 or something, and then that's what this book is. But this got even worse. So imagine, multiply that multiplied number by a lot, and then you'll find this number, okay? But I don't see anything wrong with eating boogers. There's no way it's unhealthy. What the hell? Chee. This is racist stuff also in here. Bah. There are no other black women in my world, not in my school, not in my neighborhood. Prostitution is my only chance. I'm sure plenty of men understand my problem. What is wrong with you? She's too polite, it seems. How much more racist can you get? Even you're not even leaving trees alone. Look at this idiot. She's looking out of her window, hospital window, and her father is also one only. Staghorn sumac trees are always big. They scare me. My father taught me that too, to be scared of staghorn sumac trees, whatever they are. And they are not from here. That's why she needs to be scared. Xenophobia against nature. They're not native, Asian or something. And they grow a lot faster than our trees. When they're still small, which is the case for only a short period, they send up a long, thin, rubber-like trunk that puts all its energy into gaining height. That way they overtake all the surrounding plants. Once they've exceeded the height of everything around them, they sprout a broad crown over everything else that kills everything else had been growing beneath it. Light no longer gets through, and the roots of the fast-growing staghorn sumac suck up all the water. So basically this is like a metaphor for immigrants, it feels like. It's like so obvious. Like people come in, they come into our country, they're taking everything, they're eating everything, they suck up all the resources and all that. And then she's like, but it's not all bad. Since the trunk shoots up so fast, it's unstable compared to our trees. Do you get the metaphor that I'm trying to put out there? Entire branches break off in the slightest breeze. Serves it right. This is absolutely, I wouldn't say surprising, because this whole book has been one shit show, and that's the only word I can think of. But the branches often hit people who don't realize they're standing under an Asian tree, unable to withstand wind because it busies itself trying to outpace everything else in terms of height and forgets to build a sturdy base for itself. Ek thappad laga दूं. Like how? I see staghorn sumacs all over the place. They seem to grow out of every crack in the earth. They propagate like mad. The city government must be constantly removing them, otherwise they would have completely taken over long ago. Sometimes I notice people who have let one grow in their garden after it appeared. They have no one to blame but themselves. Soon it will be the only thing in the garden. But I can't ring all of their doorbells and warn them. That would be too much work. Unfortunately, not everyone has a father like mine who can teach them such useful things. You can't even say that you don't see it, okay, because it's so blatantly right there in your face. Like she's using one thing to tell you something else. And enough about nature, it seems. You didn't talk about nature. You know what you talked about? You talked about people in a way that you thought people would think you are just talking about nature. Did I make sense? Enough about nature, my turn again. As if you haven't been talking about yourself this whole time. Even when you were talking about nature, you were talking about yourself. Her latest hobby is popping a zit. And then she tries to pop other people's zit. Pop your own zits all you want. But don't pop others' zits. It's gross. And even if they give you the permission, you should not. And I don't think anybody would give you the permission to do that. They think it's overstepping a boundary. It is! You have no sense of personal boundaries or what? Good God. She picks her scabs and eats them. She even... the gunk that forms. What is the whole point? If you know how to escape, I still know the way to the elevator. You retain that even over the course of several days, the escape route. Everything about her is pretty except for the bunion and the tubes. She asked your opinion. I asked your opinion. I asked you to write this book. Anybody asked you to write this book? She just put a bloody tampon in the lift near the buttons. Good God. How? Ew, yeah, she's so gross. She put that in the elevator and she's now talking about how that blood is now on the bills of money that she has in her hands right now, and that it's everywhere under her fingernails and everything. Oh God. And now it more looks like dirt, crap or dirt. Very nice. She's disturbed at least three people through hygienic transgressions, and she calls it a good day. And these are the kind of people who, who create an uproar about how this whole virus, it's an invasion of their privacy, of their life, of their biological health, of everything else. Same people. Same. She wants to stay in the hospital for a longer time, so she is thinking about how she should inflict a new injury on herself or reopen the old one. Where do these people come from? I don't understand. Okay, so look at what this lady has done. I mean, is it or is it not a little too good for this book to have this in here? But yeah, she says, I think the only other people who want to stay in the hospital as long as possible are the homeless. In our town, there's Blind Willie. I don't know why everybody calls him that, because he's not blind. At least not when I talk to him. I always want to give him something. Mom says if you give them money, they just drink themselves to death that much faster. Or they buy drugs. She has no clue. Whenever I was downtown without her, I would talk to him and get close to his face so I could smell his breath. Not a whiff of alcohol. She was wrong on that count. And I asked him about the drugs. He just laughed and shook his head. I believe him. So I stole some money out of Mom's purse and put it aside. Then the next time I went into town without Mom, I gave it to him and told him it was from my mother. She sends her best. I told him he shouldn't ever thank her though, because she wouldn't want it to seem as if she was seeking a public show of gratitude. He took her for a generous, humble lady rather than a hypocritical Christian. I also stole a sleeping bag, food and clothing for Willie from home. As far as he knows, it all came from her. Whenever I walked past him with Mom, he and I would look at each other briefly and then lower our gazes with knowing smiles. What do you want me to do? I do not condone the stealing, but I like that you did a good deed. But I also don't know what kind of person Willie exactly is and what he's been doing, sleeping in that sleeping bag of yours and with everything that you've given him. But the intention was good, and I am sort of surprised. Don't tell me I shouldn't be surprised, because this whole book has been one such shocker, surpriser, whatever you want to call it. Boss, she's talking about consent also. You ask for consent when you do all these hygienic transgressions. No. Then don't make a show of it all when you're saying that, oh, I need to ask for that person's consent before doing this particular thing. That's not your thing, dude. No. You are just not thoughtful. You are not a good person. Just don't behave or don't pretend like you're one. And she's like, I'd still have to ask Corina whether she was cool with it. I couldn't do it without her consent. Or maybe I could, but then I'd definitely lose her as a friend. Oh man, what a downside to this whole thing. But I can't do it anyway because it's simply impossible. Get it through your head, Helen. It's just as much of a waste of mental energy to think about how much you would pay the people here for their various diseases. It won't work. When you know that coffee is going to give you diarrhea, why did you go to the cafeteria and have coffee over there? Because it's you are saying it's almost instant. Why? I mean, that brain of yours, is it there, or is it just, out like for a walk in the park kind of thing? Or did you also replace that? Don't you dare say that about coffee. I will slap you. Model patient, it seems. She wants to be a model patient and throw the coffee cup in the trash. But believe me, you are not a model patient. You're not even a model human being. Please, for God's sake, do not make such statements. The nurse asks her if she has had her bowel movement, and she says, "No, have you?" She doesn't flush after using the toilet, and she says it drives the hygiene freaks nuts. What do you expect? There are living things depending on you. Nah, cha. She puts the tampon on between two ribs of a radiator, and then she's like, "I don't want it to fall on me. I don't want to have any bloodstains in strange places on my back or wherever that nobody can explain." Like, I don't think I've ever hated a book as much as I'm hating this one. This book is so unnecessary, Baba. Why? The cleaning woman has come into the room and she has cleaned and she's left, and this lady, she thinks she's stolen something, and there's this whole unnecessary kind of sequence with absolutely nothing happening because of it or nothing happening in it. I would have had to register a complaint and she would have probably lost her job. That's all there is to it. Why did she open my drawer? Is what she's saying. It's complete crap, this book. Ew. I promise myself that when I get out of the hospital, which shouldn't be too long from now, I'll look through the things in my father's secret cabinet and figure out what he does. It's a secret cabinet for a reason. You are... No. Please, God, save this woman. Okay, now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more chapters to go. And what I have to do right now is that I have to stop filming because my camera's battery is dying. So what I will do is I will charge the camera's battery and I will come back to this in the night perhaps, because it's 4 o'clock now, and it will take some time for the camera's battery to charge up. So whenever it's done, I will come back and I will just finish this book today because I just want it done, man. Hello. So it is 11:42 in the night and I am a little bit late in, you know, coming back and doing this thing, but I got caught up in a lot of stuff. Let's get this done, hopefully sooner than soon. Oh, she just pressed down on the brakes of the bed that she is lying in the hospital, and she just did something that literally ripped open the wound, and now she's crying and shaking, and that's what she wanted actually. She's crying and she is trying to distract herself from the pain that she just inflicted on herself by catching her tears in a bottle, in a cap of a water bottle. She's hoping that will distract her. Okay. As I'm waiting for someone to come, I hide the bottle cap at the back of my nightstand behind everything else so none of these idiots knock it over. Sure, call everyone else in the hospital idiots when you are behaving like the idiot here. Okay? Like, it's all about perspective. And it's, you know, when it comes to you, it's not just about the perspective, it's about doing the stupid thing. You have been doing the stupid thing since page 1, and now I have like 50 pages to go and it's still nowhere near the end, dude. Lie down, little one, she's calling herself. Very nice. Shall I use the time to clean up a little? After all, I want to be the best patient they've ever had. You are hands down the worst patient anybody might ever have had. No. See, technically not. They don't know half the things that you've been doing. So maybe not. Don't some people have too little blood? Or is it that they have diseased blood? How should I know? Who asked you anything that you have to come and say, how should I know? Tell me. Who asked you? She's the shittiest person ever. If this whole video so far has not proven it already, there's another example I can give you to see that, to show you that this main character is one of the shittiest characters ever. The doctor, the anesthesiologist, comes in and he asks her about what she's had for breakfast and why you can't have general anesthesia, and he's telling her about the risks that she might have to undergo if she takes general anesthesia because she has had so much for breakfast. And he says an epidural is the only possibility. And you know what this idiot thinks? That's what pregnant women get. Pregnant women who can't manage a normal birth. Cowardly mothers. Ones who want a natural birth but with no pain. Thanks. I've heard about it from my mother. What nonsense. You know what? When such characters are here and if they don't get their comeuppance throughout the book, I have a feeling like the author is putting their thoughts into the book. It feels like they are making the characters say what they want to say about certain things. And I feel really disgusted by this thought. Cowardly mothers? People who take epidurals are cowardly? What? They think I've lost too much blood too fast. I'm sick with fear now. Afraid I might die. As a result of my plan to get my parents back together. Where to where she's connecting. That wasn't part of the plan, it seems. Emergency operation. Man oh man, that sounds bad but also important and exciting. As if I'm important. Oh boy. This is a good time to lure my parents here. No concept of the world only this woman has. She's being wheeled into surgery. Robin pushes me out into the hall. They won't let me take my mobile because of all the equipment. What equipment? Are we flying there or something? Whatever. Her response to almost anything in this book is whatever. What? This would be the perfect reason for my parents to reunite though. In their mourning, they would drift back towards each other. They wouldn't be able to take comfort in their respective new partners because they know the partners never accepted their stepchildren. If the stepchild dies, the new partner is exposed. Then it will be clear who won the power struggle and who lost. Great plan, Helen, except you wouldn't be able to experience the reunion. If you die, you won't be watching down from above. What philosophy she's jhadoing when there's no need for such philosophy actually. You know that there's no heaven, that we're just highly developed animals who after death simply rot in the earth and are eaten by worms. Like we know. We know all of that. I will slap this woman. If I've understood the anesthesiologist correctly, I should feel like a quadriplegic before they start. Wow, this self-praise, no? I'm not a stickler when it comes to tidiness. The hypocrisy of this sentence is like off the charts, man. Sometimes she'll be like, I like dirty surfaces. And then other times she'll be like, I am very organized and I'm very particular when it comes to neatness. And both of this are slapping against each other and they're laughing at this woman. I'm not a stickler when it comes to tidiness. They don't need to clear the place on my account. I'm happy to have a look at what was going on in there before. Robin and the anesthesiologist laugh. Typical Helen. Even in the worst situation, you've still got a zinger on the tip of the tongue. It's just so none of them notice how scared I am of them. Sorry, I just can't say anything good about it. Sorry, I just can't say anything good about this book. But still I'm reacting, no? These sick pigs, it seems. Okay, let me give you a bit of context. So what she's saying is, I know what a blown out sphincter muscles feels like, and this time they're going to do it without general anesthesia. These sick pigs, I'm scared. Think about the consequences when you do some shit like this, no? These people are performing surgery to make you feel okay. It's okay, so I told you, no, she's doing all this philosophizing stuff when she's in that hospital bed and all that. Now she's saying she's in surgery right now, and she's saying most people get really nervous before an operation, like before a big journey. It really is like a journey. You never know whether you'll return. A journey of pain. What? She's holding Robin's hand, and now she's saying, I bore my long nails in so I leave a different pattern in his skin than the grannies do. Here also. What is this? All Tharki Kama only. She says, I'm scared, Robin. And he says, me too, for you. And she says, understood, he loves me. I didn't know. Sometimes it happens that quickly. But how did you understand that from that one sentence? He does not love you. Why am I laughing? I mean, I hate this lady, but sometimes shit like this makes me laugh. He's not in love with you, you fool, you damn fool. Oh god. All the things you do for the sake of your parents. She's doing all this for her parents, it seems, to get back together. Heartwarming, it seems. I mean, it's your bottle. You can do whatever you want with it, but I fill my glass with mineral water from a bottle I took from the hospital supply. Bottoms up into my mouth, and then I spit it back into the bottle. I hold my thumb over the top and shake it around. I repeat this process 3 times. Ew. There's a candy striper who does, like, candy stripers are people who do things for patients in hospitals, obviously for a small fee. They're like volunteers, I think. At least that's what I have gauged from what is going on in here. And she asks, this idiot asks the lady, the candy striper, if she would like some mineral water. You know what I just read out just now? That she takes a sip, puts it back, shakes it and all. I offer her some mineral water and she gratefully accepts. She goes to the nurse's station to get a clean glass. Stripers are allowed in there, and yet they can't give you a shot. She comes back with a glass, she fills it to the brim and gulps it down. It makes me happy. And the next time you say that you are very particular about cleanliness and tidiness, I will give you a whack over the head. It's as if we've already kissed, without her even knowing, of course. See, lack of consent also, she's talking about here. Against her will even, as if she had been unconscious. So many problems with this book, and grossness is the least of the problems with this book, I feel like. What even to say to such a person as this? As if she had been unconscious and I kissed her. That's how I describe our relationship. There is no relationship. You are in over your head. There is no relationship. Shut up and sleep. Where are my parents? This is not happening. They've abandoned me here. It's an emergency operation. Robin called them. But how will they be here in half an hour? And then she goes off on this complete tangent and she says, I figured after Robin's call they'd be worried and come straight here. Nothing. Nobody here. A gaping abyss. I think much more about them than they do about me. Maybe I should stop thinking about them so much. They don't want me to take care of them. And I should finally give up on expecting anything from them. It doesn't get any clearer than this. I'm lying here having gone through an emergency operation and nobody turns up. That's the way it goes in our family. I know that if one of them had something like what I have, I wouldn't leave their side. That's a big difference. I'm more the parents than they are mine. They may be shitty parents, but it's an emergency operation. Emergency. Like it took like 15 minutes. Give them some time to come, no? I mean, they might not come for all that. What am I talking? Like complete garbage, just like this book. I've got to stop that. Give it up, it seems. So basically, to thank the people who have made her life easier, I mean, to her favorites, she's going to cut grapes, insert cashew nuts in them and give it to them. Wow. Lovely task you found for yourself, Helen, it seems. If I ever talk to myself like that, then I don't know what's going to happen. I don't even know if I'm making sense. What is so funny about it? For Christmas dinner, her mom used to put bird within a bird within a bird. Like a turkey had a goose in it, and then a goose had a duck in it, and the duck had a chicken, the chicken had a quail. It was hilarious. A parade of pregnant fetuses. You think that's funny? Okay, she called someone in for painkillers. And lage haath, she says ki the grapes fell down, please pick them up and give it to me. So the nurse, she picks them up and takes them to the sink, and she says, I'll just rinse them off. They were on the floor after all. So this lady, Madam Queen, she says, these hygiene fanatics would never think to ask, do you want me to wash your grapes for you? Since they were on the disgustingly filthy hospital floor that's mopped twice a day. They just do it because they think everyone is as afraid of bacteria as they are. But that's not the case. In fact, in my case, it's just the opposite. I told you, no, if you say one more time ki you are very particular about tidiness and neatness, you are not going to cheat the poison industry with a few seconds of running water. If kids pick up things from the ground and put them in their mouths, they are always told, be careful, there could be dog crap on that. Even though it's highly unlikely there's dog crap anywhere on it. And what if there is? What would be so bad about that? You are literally talking about eating shit. I can't even bring myself to say ugh. Because it is ugh. Dogs eat canned meat. The canned meat is turned into canned meat crap in their intestines and then lands on the street. Why is the world conspiring against? Even if I ate spoonfuls from a pile of dog crap, I'm sure nothing would happen to me. So if a whiff of a trace of an unlikely particle of dog crap that somehow made its way into my hospital room sticks to a grape there beneath my bed and winds up in my mouth, nothing's going to happen. See? These stupid hygiene freaks drive me crazy. They are so unscientifically superstitious about bacteria. And now she's hit upon the next good idea, it seems. It's not a good... You don't have good ideas, baby. Please do not. Stop whatever you are doing, please. If I do end up abandoning my plan for my parents, this will have been a big waste of strength and suffering. That's the last thing I would use for whatever nonsense you have done across these whatever number of pages I've been reading and reacting to. I rinse myself off and pat myself dry. Robin was right. It's a lot better than wiping with toilet paper. All the things he knows, we are a good match. Hey, just you thinking that doesn't make it a good match. Shut up. Go sleep. You remember that she was storing her tears in a bottle cap? Now she takes it and she's putting it in those grapes, dude. She slit the grapes and put the cashews, no? In that slit, she's putting one drop of her tears. Now what should I have to conserve my tears so there's enough to go around, it seems. She holds out the bag of sliced and stuffed grapes to Robin, and she says, if someone eats a woman's tears, I mean, she's not saying it to him per se, she's telling us, and she says, if someone eats a woman's tears, the two of them are forever bound to each other. God forbid. I feel bad for that man. I have the feeling everybody wants to get out of my room quickly. Maybe it doesn't smell good in here, or I don't look good, or maybe people just want to distance themselves from sickness and pain. No, no, no. It's none of that. It's you. You're you as a person. People want to run away from you, that's all. There's no point in you seeing yourself doing the shit that you have been doing, because then you'll be like, what's wrong in that? What a load of shit. A massive load of shit. Exactly what I've been feeling. How well you take care of yourself, Helen? You don't. You think you're taking care of yourself and you do whatever the hell you want to do, and the people who are suffering are the others. No one else. I'm proud of myself. That doesn't happen very often, and it makes me smile warmly inside. Throughout this book, she's been like giving herself little pats on the back kind of thing, and now she's like, I don't feel that proud of myself. Very rarely I feel proud and all that. I call this gymnastics position. Helen kicks herself out of bed. So funny. How are you so funny? What can you do, Helen? You always give your best performances when nobody is watching. And did you know there's a movie based on this book? What? She balled up her bag in which she had brought her belongings and threw it into the trash can. And now she's saying, now my things will just have to stay in the wardrobe. They don't have a bag to travel in. What the hell? We don't need you also to look down on women, okay? And judge them based on whether or not you can take them to bed or not. What nonsense. You're a woman. Do better. This is... The doctor is being a nice guy, and he's saying that hope you recover soon, go home and heal in peace, and I hope we never see you because I hope that the healing process gets better. And this idiot, I'm sorry to spoil your fun, but I don't want to go home. And now get out of here. I need to think. Yeah, I get it. Ha ha, I'm not a moron. See you never. Can I come live with you? She's asking Robin. She is asking Robin. And he says, come with me. He caresses. Just finish this monstrosity. And that ending is horrible. The whole book is horrible. Every single character in this book is horrible. Maybe except the hospital staff. They are trying their best to care for this woman, and this woman is like, no, I don't want all of you doing this. I'm thinking of some other nonsense. Like the underlying thread is there, no? That she's trying to bring her parents together, and she is trying to do all of this so that her parents can be in the same room at the hospital, and then they will magically fall back in love with each other and they will come back together. And then you're doing gross stuff. You're talking racism, you're talking sexism, you're talking so much other nonsense. What is the point? Tell me, what is the point? One of the most disgusting books I've read. Not even one of the. This is the most disgusting book I have ever read. And if Elric had not forced me to read this, I would have given up a long time ago. It's so horrible. I mean, why? Why, man? Why? Why would you want to inflict this on someone? The translator wishes to thank Andrei Huesner for his advice and his careful read of the draft manuscript. What did you read? This was published by HarperCollins. Fourth Estate this was published by. First published in Great Britain in 2009 by Fourth Estate. What the f***? I cannot believe this. There are so many other deserving authors who are breaking their heads and breaking their lives to get published, and this is what you decide to publish. This load of bullshit. She was a presenter on Viva, whatever it is, the German equivalent of MTV. She's a well-known and award-winning television personality, so you'll go and publish this. I'm so pissed off right now. Like, the book pissed me off, but this fact is pissing me off even more. Like, I'm so angry. This is what I have an issue with publishers for, because just because someone has a name doesn't make them a good author. Like, if you want to keep up the good name of your publishing company, then please pick books, pick stories that are not like this, and not like the why are some books this bad, that book. Why would you do something like that, man? I mean, I'm losing it. Holy mother of God. This is a Marmite book, one you either love or loathe, it seems. I know what I feel about this book. It's complete nonsense is what I feel. I'm done. Like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. Like, I'm done with this. That's all. I can't react anymore. I can't summarize the book. I'm not going to talk more about what I felt, because I feel like this video has gone on for long enough, and it has summarized really well. See, technically not summarized. I have told you in full detail what I despise about this book. I loathe it. It's my most hated book of all time. For sure. And yo, yuck. I'm not even going to do the outro that I do, okay? Because how can you even go back to normal after reading that nonsense? How? I'll see you in the next video. Just stay safe, stay happy, and do not read this book. This book is called Wetlands by Charlotte Roche, and stay away from this book, okay? Be happy. Bye.